All right, good morning.
Good morning.
So I am Jessica Barnes-Green with Outer Banks Forever, and we are excited to have you guys here with us today. This is our second Facebook Live Coffee with a Ranger, and I am very excited today to have Meaghan Johnson, the newly appointed Chief of Resource Management and Science for your National Parks of Eastern North Carolina. Meaghan, I think you have the longest title in the National Park Service.
I do.
So Meaghan is here today. We are going to be talking all things sea turtles, which I know everyone gets really excited. This is an exciting time of the year. I know most people are excited just because they're coming back to the beach for their vacation or they're planning their vacation for the summer. But it's an exciting time for us because the sea turtles have started to show up. And I know that they're maybe the most favorite visitors that come to the Outer Banks. Yes. So we're going to talk sea turtles today. So Meaghan, why don't we start off with just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the National Park Service and what brought you here to the Outer Banks.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, everybody. Again, I'm Meaghan Johnson. I'm the Chief of Resource Management and Science, and I'm originally from Ohio. I went to school for marine biology and realized I couldn't do much in Ohio, so I quickly moved down to the Florida Keys, where I spent almost 20 years working, doing actually coral reef restoration and monitoring, and started out actually working out in Dry Tortugas National Park as a researcher doing that, and then opening for the fisheries biologist position, opened up out at Dry Tortugas National Park. I don't know if anybody's ever been there before. It's about 70 miles west of Key West. You can only get out there by boat or by seaplane, so it's a really special place. But I accepted that position, was out there for 3 years doing everything natural resources and sea turtle monitoring and nesting shorebirds and coral reefs and seagrass and you name it, we were monitoring or managing it. So that was great. And then this position, I actually applied for the Deputy Chief of Resource Management and Science position about 1.5 years ago, and was in that role until just recently when I just accepted the chief position here. So really excited to be here and working here in the Outer Banks.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think we are the first to publicly announce your new position as of yesterday, or technically as of next Monday.
Next Monday, yeah, exciting.
Yeah, but Meaghan has been here helping us, as she said, in the deputy chief position for a little while. So that's really exciting. And if you want to learn more about Meaghan, we actually did a Meet Your Ranger profile of her that's available on our website right now. So obxforever.org. If you click Discover, you'll check out Meaghan's profile and you can learn a little bit more about her background. So Meaghan, I wanted to just start off with you just talking a little bit about the sea turtles that come here to the Outer Banks. So I know we have a couple of species here. I also know tomorrow is an Endangered Species Day, and I think a couple of our sea turtle species are endangered or fairly rare. So could you just tell us a little bit about the types of sea turtles we see here at Cape Hatteras?
Yeah, so we have about 5 species of sea turtle off the Outer Banks. And so that includes the loggerhead, green, Kemp's Ridley, hawksbill, and leatherback sea turtles. Loggerhead and green are primary nesting species here in the seashore. And occasionally we do have hawksbill and leatherback. I did look that up, and I think the last leatherback nest was back in 2012. So we haven't had one here in quite a while, but pretty incredible to see them come ashore and nest here. So yeah, those are our primary nesting species, but mainly loggerhead and then greens next. We probably have around 200 sea turtle nests on average a year. I think we had around 228 last year. So expecting this to be a busy year as well.
Yeah, and I think we have 3 or 4, just like a small handful of nests confirmed so far.
We do, yeah. Our nesting season starts May 1st, and then we go through probably almost till the end of October. I think we may have had a late nester around Halloween last year, so that was exciting. We monitor through mid-September or 2 weeks after the last nest is laid.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about that monitoring process. So I think our rangers here do morning patrols. So tell us a little bit about what that patrol looks like and what exactly they're looking for.
Sure. So yeah, our staff are monitoring the beaches from 5 a.m. till about 7 a.m. before we have people driving on the beach. So they're looking for sea turtle nests or tracks for false crawls. And a false crawl is when a sea turtle crawls up the beach and does not lay a nest for whatever reason and then returns back to the ocean. So we're looking for those sea turtle tracks, and depending on the width and the type of tracks, that'll tell us what species actually laid a nest or did the false crawl. So yeah, it's a couple hours. I actually got some great photos from our team this morning, a beautiful sunrise and some sea turtle tracks on the beach. They a loggerhead nest in Hatteras today, so that was pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, I'm sure that's, it's an early morning, but I'm sure that's a beautiful way to start your work day, just walking around or driving around looking for turtle nests. So after the turtles come on shore and they lay their nest, about how long does it take before the nests hatch?
Great question. Yeah, so about 60 days is the average, I guess, time that the eggs are incubating before they hatch. Around day 55, we do what we call a nest expansion, and we expand the signage around the nest, and then we also add light filtering shading material in a U shape around the nest, which kind of leads the hatchlings down to the ocean. It filters out the light from any vehicles or nearby homes with lighting, so it just gives them that added protection when they do hatch out and return to the ocean.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we talk about a lot as far as, ways that we can help sea turtles, and we'll get a little bit more into that in a minute. But can you tell us a little bit more about light pollution and the way that affects sea turtles? I know, they sort of, they tend to hatch at night or early in the morning. So they're, the light is their guiding post to get them to the ocean, right?
Yeah, they go off of these cues in terms of how they return to the ocean, and so they're looking for the moonlight or the starlight. And so when we have lights on the beach, or it messes with that basically, and so they may mistake that lighting for the natural moonlight or stars. So when they're trying to return, it might disorient them in terms of returning back to the ocean where they need to go. So having some sort of turtle-friendly lighting, whether that's downward facing or replacing bulbs with amber lighting, is really important. Or just turning off lights at night can be really important for the sea turtles.
Yeah, that's great. And I think if I remember correctly, last year, is there something else? Do you all put a GPS tracker at the nest? Did I remember that correctly? So that you guys sort of know where they are?
That's exactly right. Yeah, we have a good sense of that. And we also have some temperature loggers, so we can track the temperature of the nests. That's really important because we can try to understand what those temperatures are. And that temperature of the sand actually dictates whether those hatchlings are either male or female. Warmer sand equals more females, and colder sand equals more males. So here in North Carolina, we tend to get more males just because we're on the northern limits of the nesting. So interesting fact there.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. So when you were down in Florida, they would have more females probably because they have warmer temperatures.
Yeah, so
that's interesting. So do you all find that, and I know that there's, I know we aren't quite at the point where we're tracking turtles in the same way that some of the other national parks, particularly down in Florida, are. But do you have a sense of if sea turtles come back to the same area each year to nest, or do they go to different areas?
Yeah, there's been a lot of research done to show that sea turtles actually return to their natal beaches where they were born, and they come back when they come back to lay their nest. And we were talking about those cues, and I think that's another cue that they have is that magnetic field, or the magnetic cues, where they use the Earth's magnetic field to really understand where they are as a small hatchling, and then return to that area when they're ready to nest themselves. So it's a pretty incredible thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I feel like we as humans don't have that great navigational skill that animals
No, I
have to
don't.
get back to that place. I definitely don't.
I
Don't for
rely
sure.
heavily on my GPS.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and do you want to show us your sea turtle mug? I know we didn't really
Yes, I
talk about our
do.
coffee mugs today.
I
That is
do.
so
My
cute.
family, my daughter picked this out for me when I got my new position. So I was really excited. I said, well,
Oh
that's
my gosh.
my sea turtle coffee talk. So
I know I'm representing Shenandoah today, so I've got bears on mine, but
great.
still wanted to represent. And also, I wanted to just to a little personal note. Can you show the painting that your daughter did recently?
Yes, yes.
I thought it was so cute.
So
Look at
my
her little
daughter's
turtles.
handprints, we turned it into a painting. My sea
Ah,
painting this morning. Yeah, it's
oh,
incredible.
I love it. That is a really fun craft. I think that would be fun for people who have their families down here at the beach this summer. It would be a really fun thing for them to
Yes,
do.
that would be
Handprint.
great. That would be
Yeah,
great.
I've seen the handprint turkeys, but I've never seen the turtle. That's pretty good.
That'd be a great junior ranger activity, I
Oh
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, definitely we'll have to talk to our friends in the interpretive division about that.
Yes.
This is what happens if they aren't on the call, we start making things for them to do, right? That's
Yep,
how that works.
that's right.
So I did want to talk a little bit about we last year, one of the fun things that we did together, so Outer Banks Forever and Cape Hatteras National Seashore, is we helped with live streaming the excavation of sea turtle nests, which typically I think some of those you would do with the public, and we're not sure if that's going to be a thing we're able to do this summer again, but I think we will now start doing these more, virtual things where people who aren't here the particular time that you guys are doing that can still enjoy and see the whole process. Can you just tell us a little bit about why do you all go and excavate the nest? What do you learn from that? And how is that helpful as you manage the seashore and help protect the turtles?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, we do those live nest excavations, and hopefully we will be able to have the public attend those this year as the COVID restrictions ease up and can do that in a safe way. But yeah, so our staff, after the nest hatches, we go in and we excavate the nest and we count the number of eggs that the sea turtles have laid just to understand the productivity. And we can tell from the number of eggs, and they do usually lay around 100 eggs. We can tell how many they laid, how many of those actually were successful in hatching. So it just gives us a good indication of the productivity of those nests.
Yeah, and it was really interesting. I got to be there for one of them, and we did find 2 baby hatchlings that hadn't made it out, which is interesting. The nests are pretty deep, so it's a pretty hard crawl to get out of the sand. So they were at the bottom of the nest. And I think one of the things I was most surprised is I also was very fortunate to have your staff let me help release the turtles. So we later that evening, again, just trying to keep with the turtles' natural rhythm, we kept them and then we released them later that evening. They're strong. They're flippers. I mean, for such a small, they have very strong flippers, which I guess is what they have to, not only to get out of the sand, but then to swim in the ocean current. So that was really surprising to me.
Yes, it's always neat to find a couple hatchlings that are still in there. Sometimes the sand gets compacted from rain or other factors. So it's always nice when we find a couple hatchlings that maybe didn't make it out for whatever reason. We can get back to the ocean that evening. So that's great.
Yeah, so we will, those of you who are watching, we will let you know when we schedule those nest excavations, and we'll have them here probably on Facebook and certainly on our new YouTube channel later this summer, which is great. So we talked a little bit about light pollution, which we can touch on again, but can you just tell us a little bit about how we as visitors, as the humans who come and enjoy these beaches, can help protect the sea turtles and make sure that we're not interfering with their natural process to lay their eggs and also hatch and get back to the ocean?
Sure. Yeah, I think, taking back with us anything we bring to the beach is important. So not leave any chairs or canopies or tents or anything on the beach that they could be an obstruction when they come up to lay their nests, or fishing gear or fishing line that they may become entangled in if left on left on the beach is really important. We want to leave those beaches as pristine as we can, and just, you know, make sure they have the best chance to lay their nests where they need to, that they can. So I think that's really important. Balloons is something we find on our beaches a lot. I actually was just talking with one of our staff down in Ocracoke Island, and they found over 100 balloons just in the last month, just on Ocracoke, as their morning patrols. And it's something that can be dangerous to the turtles. If they ingest it, they might mistake it for food, might think it's a jellyfish. And so it's really important not to release balloons. That's a big thing, and so that they don't end up on our beaches or they mistake them for food and harm the sea turtles. So that's something that's important. And we talked about the lighting. I think that's another big one, is just making sure we have the correct lighting. I know we've made a big effort on our facilities, and including our downward facing lighting and amber lights on our structures that are near the beach, and visitor centers and housing, and just making sure that we're providing the best, I guess, light for our visitors, but also for our turtles as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a good reminder. I think, you know, from what I understand, we're fairly close to becoming a night skies park here at Cape Hatteras National Seashore, which is really exciting. Which I can put a link in the notes on what that means and why that's important. But it's a good reminder, you know, when you're here on vacation, it's very easy just to, you know, turn those outdoor lights off at your beach house before you go to bed. And that's a pretty easy way to do it. Great. Yeah. Well, Meaghan, is there anything else you want to tell us about the turtles or about our turtle programs here? Anything we want to share with everyone while we're here?
No, I think you had great questions. So I'm excited to be here and talk about what we're doing. And, you know, we have a lot of nesting sea turtles and nesting shorebirds here. And we have a lot of programs going on throughout the seashore. So if you want to learn more about what we do, you can find more information on OBX Forever and on our NPS website. And also attend some of those programs here in the seashore. So we just look forward to having you here at the seashore.
Yeah, and we're really excited because Outer Banks Forever works with Meaghan and her team, some of her biologists, on our Adopt a Sea Turtle Nest program. So we launched that program for the first time at the end of the summer last year, and really excited to let everyone who's watching know, you're some of the first to know that we are opening our 2021 Adopt a Sea Turtle Nest season next week. So now that we have some sea turtles that have laid nests, you can symbolically adopt them on our website. If you go to obxforever.org, you'll find the links there to adopt a sea turtle nest. And what we do is, with your donation, we then assign you to a sea turtle nest, a specific nest. I get a very, very lengthy scientific spreadsheet of all of the data that Meaghan and her team are collecting for each nest. And I send you some basic data at the beginning when I assign your nest, so you'll know which type of turtle. So Meaghan mentioned loggerhead and green are the ones that are the most common here.
Yeah.
I'll let you know which island it's on. So we have 3 sort of districts here. So Ocracoke Island, Hatteras Island, and then Body Island. And then at the end of the nest season, once your nest hatches, we give you kind of a full report of how many eggs were in the nest, how many actually hatched. And it's a really fun program. People really enjoyed it. You get an official adoption certificate. So you can learn more about that program on obxforever.org. And actually, I have it ready today, so you can go ahead and reserve your nest, and we'll assign them as they come. So they're on their way now. But that's really, really a fun program, and a way for us to just stay connected to, you know, all of the amazing wildlife that we have here in the Outer Banks. So thank you, Meaghan and her team, for helping us make that program possible.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's it for us today. So we will be back next month, and we're going to be talking about beach and ocean safety. So stay tuned for that, and thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.